Welcome to the Connected Yoga Teacher podcast. This is a very different episode today. I have a big announcement to share. I'll just dive right into it. For now, as far as I know, this is the second last episode that is being released on the Connected Yoga Teacher podcast. The podcast is officially ending soon. Maybe it's pausing. I will talk more at the end of today's episode because I've had some ideas about how the podcast might continue on, how I might be able to pass the torch for this. Yeah, it's hard to put it all into words. I was just writing a few notes down so I don't miss anything and telling my daughter, like, I'm going to go record, and what if I start crying? She said, just edit it out, Mom. I love how she was coming up with a solution. But I do really want to share an episode that answers some questions about why this is happening. So I invited my good friend, Rebecca Sebastian, to join me because she's an amazing human, a friend of mine. She asks really great questions. She's a fellow podcaster. She hosts a podcast called Working in Yoga. So if you're like, I want to keep listening to topics that are relevant to yoga teachers, go subscribe to her podcast. Rebecca has been on the podcast quite a few times talking about some really big things. I love how when I throw it out there to her, like, hey, could we cover this? She is just right away like, yeah, let's do it. Let's hit record. And one of those episodes that we did a long time ago was us both talking about how we often feel like quitting. So it felt really appropriate to have her on to share how she is going through her own stuff right now. She sold her yoga studio and she's moving on. I won't share yet. You'll get to hear from her what she's doing still with the yoga world. And I share how I'm closing this podcast chapter for now. So in case you're brand new here, and wow, this would be a wild episode to jump into. If this is just the first episode that you're ever listening to, let me introduce myself. I'm the host of the Connected Yoga Teacher podcast for at least this episode and the next one. My pronouns are she, her, her. I'm a yoga teacher, mom of 3. I've been an entrepreneur for over 20 years, and that is changing. I'll share more about that when I get chatting with Rebecca. And I'm a forever curious student with a lot of questions. This podcast is recorded on the traditional lands and treaty territory of the Saugeen Ojibwe Nation, which consists of the Chippewas of Saugeen and the Chippewas of Nawash Unceded First Nation. Also, a shout out to our sponsor. Today's episode and many of our episodes have been powered by OfferingTree. I use and love this software in my own business because it automates everything from bookings, payments, Zoom links, reminders, and so much more. And we have a podcast listener discount code for you, and that will continue to work well beyond this episode here today that you're listening to. So you can use it at any time. That's over at OfferingTree.com/Shannon. So now let's get into today's episode. I'm so glad that you're here to listen to this. Rebecca and I both share how it feels to let something go, close the chapter, and start something new. And there's a lot that goes along with it. This episode is here for you if you are in any of those phases. So let's dive in, and you can have a listen to 2 friends chatting about what this feels like. And we sure get into it. Hey everyone, I'm super excited to be here, and I feel like I'm super honored that Rebecca Sebastian is here with me, or we're here together kind of in the same boat. And it feels like a different podcast episode, but one that we've been chatting about behind the scenes. So we thought, let's bring the conversation here. Rebecca, how are you?
I'm good. Have we ever done a normal podcast episode? Think about it. Like we did one that was like, we're going to quit this job. Remember, like 2023, we're going to quit this job. We did one that was difficult conversations with friends. And now we've got this one. I mean, this feels like a culmination of like the things.
It does. I was like, oh, will you talk with me about like, okay, now we're quitting.
Now we're quitting.
Well, now we're changing what we're doing, but
Yeah.
quitting some things, closing the chapter on some things. Where should we start?
You start and we'll just go.
Okay. Well, I don't know when the decision was like finalized, but not that long ago, I decided, well, first of all, we had switched the podcast to like every other week. And then it just really became quite evident that I needed to make a choice between doing the podcast or working in my own community, like my community, driving to a job and working in the community. And so this on my podcast will be the second last episode that's going out, as far as I know, because we never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And it feels weird. And it feels like I was having a lot of feelings about it before that were like, when you're switching something as a yoga teacher and you think, will these people count on me? Like guilt,
Yes.
sadness, and like, oh gosh, am I letting this all go when I've worked so hard and like it's really going well? Like, how do you quit something when it's going well? Lots of complicated feelings. Yeah, that's where I'm at. Where are you at?
I mean, similarly, it's very interesting. So, as you know, I feel like for the listeners, I want them to know the context that you and I are good friends. Like, we know a lot about each other.
Yes.
So anything I'm sharing is not news to Shannon. Shannon knows, like I got a good morning text from her yesterday, you guys. Like, we are good friends. But like, I took a business course at the beginning of this year, and the first thing this business course asked us, and for those of you who don't know me, I run a yoga studio as well as a yoga podcast, and I've been a yoga teacher and a yoga therapist. If we had an EGOT as yoga people, I probably would have it. I've done all the things. So would you, Shannon. Like, we've all done all the things. And the first thing the business course asked me was, what's your plan to leave your business? And no one had ever said that in such a way to me of like, you don't have to do this forever. Like, you don't have to do whatever business you're doing now forever. And that got me thinking. And so as of June 15th this year, and we're recording in July, I sold my yoga studio. I was going to close it, but then at the last minute, somebody bought it, which was really wonderful. And it will be a great human who's going to carry on the legacy of the studio and carry on the community, which I'm really honored that she even considered something I built as something she would want to continue. But yeah, I quit too. I'm doing other things in the yoga space, but I sold my studio.
Wow. Just as you said to listeners, I've been listening behind the scenes. And I remember when you were like, am I going to do this? Like, am I, I want to do this thing. And around that time, I think I had already sold Pelvic Health Professionals. And I was like, you need to sell it. I remember you were ready to close it and not sell it. And I was like, you need to sell that.
Yes. Solid advice. Thank you for that.
Well, and I feel like it also happened because your community is set up for that too.
Yeah.
And you've set it up with your studio. So talk about like, what are the feelings? Do you have these feelings, or did you, when it was like, okay, it might close and be gone? Maybe that was more when you had those feelings of like, oh my gosh, people need this.
Yes. I have in the past had to break up with like yoga students and yoga classes. I think this is something we actually really don't talk about almost at all within the industry, because yoga is such an intimate job. There's a lot of intimacy created between teacher and student and amongst the students together because they're having a collective experience. And we as the facilitators or teachers feel almost obligated to the things that we've built. And I love that for us in a way that it's like we are stewards of people's practice, and that is sacred and amazing and beautiful. But also, we don't have to do the same thing forever. I remember when I broke up with a class that I taught for 11 years, and I had built a yoga studio, and I was still driving a half an hour to teach this yoga class at a library, like a half an hour away from me. And it's just, I love them so much. And finally it was like, this is insane. What am I doing? I'm taking 2 hours out of my week to drive out to this class. I shouldn't be doing that. I should be spending that time doing something else. But I was just so, all the feelings of breaking up. With the studio, it felt a little bit different because, as you know, I have a podcast working in yoga. I'm doing that full time. I'm doing industry advocacy full time. Like, essentially, I was just like, I love yoga people. I am yoga people. And I'm just going to go to bat for you guys. So it felt like a luxury that I had built these two different options, and I just got to choose which one I wanted to do. So it felt a little less bittersweet on that side, but breaking up with things is hard in general. Breaking up with, like, you and I, like, experts break up a level this year.
Yeah, we've had a lot of breakups this year, that's for sure.
We have.
Oh my gosh, I appreciate this so much of you sharing, like, this doesn't get talked about enough in the yoga world, because it's true. And I think back to, like, the classes where I was like, ooh, this is the one that really drains me, or like you said, it's too far away, or, you know, maybe you have really low registration. And I remember you saying, you know, something about, you know, people coming in and saying, like, this is basically sustaining me in my life.
Yes.
Yeah, that happens. Like, it's the same with the podcast. I feel like I get messages all the time from yoga teachers saying, like, your podcast has helped me so much. Like, I don't know what I'd do without it. So the guilt of it, I think, kept me going for a little bit. And, like, I also love doing it for sure. But that feeling of, like, I can't let these people down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, I love folding laundry, but like I find a lot of satisfaction in folding laundry, and I'm good at it. It's like a weird household thing I'm very good at. Yeah. But you don't have to, like that doesn't have to be your thing forever. Like, you just don't have to do the same thing forever. And if you have the skills of entrepreneurship, and I don't know if you all listening know how much of a skilled entrepreneur Shannon Crow is, but she is, like, you can do whatever with those skills. You can build whatever business you want to.
Yeah. Okay, I'm glad you brought up the entrepreneur thing, because that brings something else to my mind. I just got to this point where I felt like, well, what happened is I decided in the new year to go get a job, like a couple days a week. I was like, I'm going to get out of the house. I feel like I need, like, a little break. I'm going to go do this. And what I realized is, when I go to work, there's such, like, I just, like, leave at the end of the day, like, sign in. I'm getting paid all day, which is not what happens when you're an entrepreneur. And I was just like, wow, I haven't done this for like 20 years, and I kind of like it.
Yeah.
But I also found a job where I'm working in my community. I'm helping people who are in need of help, like everything from, like, trauma to mobility to, like, life skills. It just made me feel like, okay, I'm making a difference.
And you're doing yoga in that job too. So it's not like yoga is gone.
It's actually coming back. I'm actually going to be teaching starting, like, in August. And I'm like, oh my gosh. I was telling a friend the other day, oh my gosh, I have to work on my class plan. She's like, oh my gosh, Shannon, you will be fine. Been a yoga teacher for over 20 years. She's like, it's just going to be fine. But
you'll be good.
Yeah. And I'm excited about it again, about teaching yoga. And I kind of lost that for a little bit. So I appreciate you saying, like, it was the question of, like, looking at, okay, if this business ended, or this thing that you're doing, this chapter closed, like, then what? That's what got you thinking then about.
Yeah, it really did. And I didn't think, this is a hilarious story. So like, this course that I went through, essentially like a small business executive MBA course, it's sponsored by Goldman Sachs. Everybody who qualifies gets to go for free, and you get one-on-one business coaching while doing the coursework. So it's work, it's like college, but also you get business coaching for your business. And I was about 3 weeks in, and I was running numbers because they'll make you sit down and do spreadsheets about what's profitable in your business, what's not profitable. And I was encouraged to pull out the podcast and my speaking and writing and run that as a separate business plan, because I already knew I wasn't going to give that up. That's something I've always been really passionate about, like industry discussion. And so I was encouraged just to pull that out and run. I started running side by side spreadsheets, like just straight numbers of like income potential and what could happen. And I contact my business coach, and I'm like, hey, I actually really think this other podcasting thing might be what I should be doing. And she said, what's stopping you from making that jump right now? And I just said to her, I don't want to disappoint people. And when I tell you are you freaking insane look on her face, just like, and she was like, well, I'm going to get that out of your brain right now. Like, you mean to tell me you start a business or you start a thing and you just have to do it forever because you might disappoint other people? She's like, what in the like good girl syndrome is happening in your brain?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Well, thanks, Julie, but also but it's really true.
It is. Yeah. That brings me right back to where I was in conversation about the podcast. Not wanting to disappoint people.
Yeah.
What's interesting, and I'll share this very openly, is today, you already know this, Rebecca, I was in therapy today, and my therapist, maybe I didn't tell you this part though, my therapist was like, a lot of the decisions I've made in my life are like this underlying guilt, like different relationships that I've had or different things. And it's that same thing of like, I don't want to disappoint someone, or I feel like some underlying guilt. And you know what? We all have these things from like when we're young, like these things set up, and it's the way we cope and we get through in life.
And when you were a kid, maybe how it kept us safe. Like, you were the best you could possibly be. I'm just only going to speak for myself. In my history, it was very much like, if I performed and I did well and I did what everybody else around me told me I had to do, that kept me safe from a lot of verbal and emotional abuse that was taking place in my house. Yeah. And like, I'm a type A personality, so I just went over the top with it.
And you're like, let me be better. That'll fix everything.
And now as an adult, I can't quit anything. Like, I had to work through that whole thing again. Yeah.
So tell everyone what you're working on then. What does it look like now that the studio is like officially
sold? And I will say, like, this is something that popped into my head. The studio got sold after I told everyone we were closing.
Right.
So like, I actually had to write the breakup email with my students, and I had to write the breakup email. And my teaching team, there was 10 people or 11 people teaching for me at the time. They knew, like, I was breaking up with everybody. I got all the influx of the phone calls and the texts and the emails and the voice notes of like, oh my God, you've built this thing. Oh my gosh, I'm going to be so sad. One person just texted me, this is a very sad day. That was the whole text.
Oh. Oh no.
Okay.
You're like, already I was worried about disappointing you all, and here it comes.
That's the text I got. Wow. But so what I'm doing now, it finally got sold. It ended up with a happy ending, but I was prepared for it not to be a happy ending. I was just prepared to like cry on my floor about how I disappointed everybody.
Right.
But right now I do the podcast, and then I'm launching a workers magazine for yoga professionals, the future of working in yoga, which will be a digital magazine. It's a trade magazine for us. It's a place where we can write and talk shop. And my goal for that is for it to be all opinions are welcome and valid, and like where like we can present our cases for being professionals, because I believe strongly we need that.
Yeah. I love this. When you and I chat about the yoga world, I feel like you always go deep into industry stuff, which I love to hear you talking about it. And there were a few conversations, which I have to thank you for, where I was like, yeah, like I have zero interest in covering that ever. Like that's where I started to feel like when you were saying we could disappoint people, what I really don't want to do is to like lose my little fire of doing the podcast. Like I started it a long time ago, 8 years ago, to help yoga teachers. That was the point. I'm sure you started your yoga studio with a goal in
Yeah.
mind.
Yeah. My goal was to build a place where it felt like it was nourishing to work. Like even my studio now, like upon reflection, like I'm proud of the community I built there and the humans that practiced there and learned yoga and all of those things. But I built it for the teachers. I built it for workers like myself because I read this book. Oh my God. I don't know if I've told you this story, Shannon. I read this book called Creativity Inc. And it's the story of how Pixar was run, like the animation studio.
Yeah.
And it was like it's a wildly creative place to live. And like the people who were running it were so caring and nurturing, and they cared about the fact that their people who work for them could be like creative and free. And I was like sobbing reading this, going, I've never worked at a place like that. And I find yoga to be inherently very creative. I find our job to be very creative.
Yeah.
And I had never had the freedom to teach in the way that I wanted to teach and create in the way that I wanted to create. So I just built a space so I could do it. Like, which is weird to say now, but I acknowledge now even the studio was for the teachers.
Right. Oh, that's fascinating. When I focused on the podcast, I really wanted to build community in this online way.
Yeah. And you did.
I did. I definitely did. And the community's still there and is still going strong. I mean, there are moments where I do think about you getting these emails and see, I'm not sending out an email. I'm putting this podcast out. And this might be, I don't know, I feel like be careful if you're telling someone like, this is going to make me really sad. You can say that. You can be like, I'm super sad the podcast is ending. And also, I'm super glad that you're following what lights you up, because that's what we all have to do.
Yes. I mean, I will say like 99% of the feedback I got was, we're so excited for your new project. And that's how I'd framed it. Again, I'm lucky in the way that I was leaving my studio, not because I had to, but because I chose to, because I wanted to pursue something else. And I know there are so many studio owners out there who are like struggling day by day, week by week, month by month. And just like setting that down feels like not only disappointing other people, but I'm sure yourself and your dreams and your goals, and that's not what you thought. I'm very lucky that wasn't my situation particularly. I just get to go do this other thing.
Right.
And people were very supportive of that, with the exception of like one text, this is a very sad day.
Oh my God. That like really sits with you. I will say, I don't know if I've ever told you this story. I used to follow someone who was like an online creator. I forget what she even did. She like back in the day of like PDFs where you could get the email freebie.
Oh yeah.
And I can't even remember what they were about or what her business name was or her name. But when she pivoted and switched to something else, I was really upset. I was like, you're so good at this. Like, we need this. I really reacted.
Yeah.
And she was like, well, this is just what I'm doing. I feel bad about it now because now I understand more of like someone changing their mind, even when they're good at it, even when it's a really good fit. That's the thing with the podcast is, I absolutely love our community. I love our sponsor, OfferingTree. I have loved like interviewing every yoga teacher, and still I want to go do something else.
Yeah, we only have like this one, the Mary Oliver quote, like, what are you going to do with your one wild life?
Yeah.
Like, you get one life to create and build whatever you want to show up in whatever way you want to. Not everybody takes the leap to start something or build something or create something. that in itself is a unique personal characteristic. Not everybody's got ideas. Like the idea part's not unique. We've all got an idea of a business or a thing that you want to build, but the taking the leap to actually do it, like, is a whole unique skill set. Not everybody takes, and like, you only have one life to build whatever you want to. So yeah, go build it. Go do a thing.
Exactly. Okay, I want to tell you about one other thing, which you kind of know, but it's just coming to me now of like, there was also a real aspect. Well, you definitely know I've complained about this before. But I do wonder now, I'm starting to think today if it was just like, well, I don't know. I'll share and then we can all analyze me. I got feeling like yoga really changed for me when I became more into social justice topics, more into speaking for like also peace in Gaza. You and I talked about this on the last
Yeah.
podcast episode. And I started to get really angry. I still can feel the anger at like getting shut down by yoga teachers who were saying like, you can't take sides, you can't, which I don't agree with right now. You and I had this conversation. I got really angry, like thinking there are some people who I've hosted on the podcast who then I hosted like, let's say a yoga series or promoted their book or whatever, and realized like they're not going to say anything about anything political. Like they made it very clear to me in personal conversations. And I just thought, what am I doing? Why am I platforming people who aren't going to speak up?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's like I don't think it's that I was just looking for a reason to like switch. Like it's not the whole reason.
Yeah.
But it's part of it.
I think that's super important actually for like, I want us to talk about that a little bit. And because I have a similar example in my studio space. Like I have a landlord who is, as one of my people who owns a business near mine, he's a bucket of nuts is what she calls him.
He is. You've told me some things.
So wild. Not the entire reason, but it would be a lie if I didn't say that that wasn't a factor. Like the hard things don't get to be the whole reason why we stop something or shift something. But also, I don't know how you feel about it, but I do actually feel, and this is maybe why yoga has fucked up my brain. Like I can look at it and say I'm a little bit grateful that he was there because he was the impetus for me to shift looking into a different direction. Like this really messed up guy who I keep looking at him going, I didn't choose him. I didn't even marry this guy. This one's not my fault. I inherited him. I didn't even know. But I think in the same way you looking at like Gaza in particular is a really important topic for you. And I think who's ever listening, if you're wondering what Rebecca thinks, you don't have to go listen to that episode. Gaza is objectively a horrible, horrible, horrible genocide that is happening and is objectively terrible. And I don't care to enter into a discussion with anybody who thinks otherwise. There's nothing complicated about it. You're bombing children and they're starving while standing in line for food. That's fucked up. We should be against that in general and specifically in yoga. Objectively so. I understand why you're disappointed. Like what is there to discuss about that? Like there's nothing complicated about that conversation in my head if you are a person who understands morality. Like dying children, boo.
Yeah. And it felt like a heartbreak and a disappointment in like a lot of the yoga world. That's what it felt like for me.
Yeah, of course.
I also like got angry with our Canadian government, feeling like here I am as an entrepreneur, like just busting it over here to like make money to pay taxes, which are actually funding harm. And I was like, you know what? I went off your little like war machine here. I want to go like do some work where we're taking some funds from the government and doing good things with it instead. I don't know. I don't know if that makes a difference, but there's many little pieces of it where I thought I need to work like where I can see the difference. I can see like the people in front of me and know that I'm helping in my small community. Yeah. I think that was the other thing is I felt like I
Yeah.
need to go do something now.
Yeah. I mean, every activist I know, and I'm very, very blessed to be in constant communication with so many people who are making impactful, creative decisions about how to change our world. Like the first step is to lean into your community, especially when you're feeling despair. Like it's like go feed people, go find a food box to donate to, go find something in your own local community that you can do that can help make a difference, because that it does spread. It is impacting. The more people you impact locally, they impact people and they impact people. That is, I mean, it is like radical love and change. Like that's, yeah, I'm into it, Shannon.
When I was at work and two unhoused folks came through and came into the kitchen, and I happened to be making stuff. I was like, "Oh, I've got this and I've got this." Like that just lights me up. Where I'm like,
Yeah.
let's get some food to people and just let them sit here for a minute and have conversation. And yeah. So that's what I'm doing. Oh yeah, I don't know if I was clear with listeners. I have mentioned it that I'm working at an Indigenous Friendship Center with First Nations folks of all ages. And we have so many programs in there. And I just moved over to a program called Healthy Living. So I literally get to garden, teach yoga, go on hikes with folks, go out foraging and looking at plants, and invite guests in to talk about how we can be healthy, like body, mind, spirit, and also learn a ton about First Nations culture. And so it feels like a friend of mine was like, "Shannon, this job is perfect for you." And
same thing when you said it. Look, oh my God, Shannon's dream job.
Yeah. And I feel like it didn't really happen. I mean, it was slow. I mean, I started in a different role at that job, and who knows like what's going to happen with it, but it definitely feels like the right thing, even though it's super hard to close the podcast for now.
Yeah. Quitting is hard. And I think the amount of hours worth of voice notes that we've left each other about quitting things, like it is like, because it's complicated, right? Like it's not just, hurrah, I'm done. But like you said before, I feel like I'm disappointing people. I feel like I'm disappointing myself. In my case, I will just say like, am I failing? That's like one of those refrains I'm trying to get out of my head from, childhood. Thanks, Mom. Like, like we don't want to feel like we're failing. We don't want to feel like we've done something wrong or that we're making the wrong decision. God forbid you make the wrong. I mean, I don't know if you remember this last year when I first, so for listeners, you're just going to hear a lot about me, but I left my husband early last year. And one of the things I kept saying was, I'm so tired of trying to make the right choice. I'm just going to make the wrong choice. I'm going to do it all wrong all the time. Bought the first car I test drove, all those things that, you think you're supposed to be doing all the right things. And sometimes it still isn't what's right for you.
Yeah. Hey, Connected Yoga Teachers, I'm popping in for a moment to talk about our amazing sponsor, OfferingTree. And today I really just want to share some deep gratitude. OfferingTree has been supporting the Connected Yoga Teacher podcast for years. And before that, they were supporting, my behind the scenes tech stuff. And they're not just a sponsor, but they're also this team of people, an amazing team of people that really cares about yoga teachers and the work that we're doing in our communities. They also have very similar values to me. So that's always mattered to me. I'm just thinking about the team right now as I'm recording this. I'll tell you a little bit of behind the scenes when I had chatted with them. about this big change coming. I had a lot of conversations with Eddie, one of the founders, and Eddie was just so understanding. And we're still in chats about how to collaborate going further. So yeah, I'm just incredibly grateful at how smoothly they've made this transition. Also, their software has made it easier for so many of us, not just me, but many of us yoga teachers and yoga studios to share classes, workshops, and memberships, either online or in person, without being overwhelmed by creating a website and dealing with all of the tech side of things. Personally, I've loved being able to recommend a company that's not only helpful and has a great product, but that's also, like I said before, so aligned with the values of community, accessibility, and supporting each other, because that's what this podcast is all about. So as we do this second last episode here today together, I just wanted to say thank you to OfferingTree for walking alongside all of us for so many years. If you're looking for a simple way to manage your yoga business, create a website, do all the things, you can still use our coupon code. It'll be in the show notes, but then also you can access it anytime. We have a special discount over at OfferingTree.com/Shannon. Again, that's OfferingTree.com/Shannon. Okay, let's get back into this chat with Rebecca and I. I do remember one of our conversations where you were just like, am I just breaking up with everything? Like, did I just break up my marriage? And then I sold pelvic health professionals and now I'm closing. I was like, what am I doing? Am I ending everything? Or just trying to start from scratch?
Do you remember what you said to me, though?
No.
You said to me, it was the best. Oh my God, this was in my head for weeks. And it was just, you're not breaking up with everything. You're choosing what's in alignment with you.
Oh, how great was that?
It was so great. It was exactly what I needed. Thanks, Shannon. I wish I was closer to Canada.
You should move to Canada. It's definitely what needs to happen.
If America would let me out.
Come on over, American friends. All the American podcast listeners, come to Canada. Definitely a breakup in relationships is it's good to have someone who's oh yeah, this sucks. This is...
Yep. Me too. And ironically, it was not just the one thing. We were over the course of the year, I think there's and maybe this is also a conversation we can have about women being, we're both in the middle age of our life and sort of shifting into the perimenopausal stage and there is something to this time of life and being a woman, and just I am no longer interested in anything that isn't what I need anymore. No, thank you. I've done enough of that. I've put in my time. Yeah. Actually said my intention this week was, so when I was a kid, the feedback that teachers always gave my mom was she's not living up to her potential. And that was something that always stuck into my brain. Every teacher was she's getting very good grades, but she could be doing more.
Wow.
Yeah. For years and years and years. And I graduated with 3.85. I wasn't a slouch. I did well in school. And they were still she should be doing more. And I wrote this week, I'm done with my potential. I've fulfilled it. And everything from here on out is gravy. I just get to do what I want now.
That's so good. I also want to say that you said something really powerful to me. And this comes back to being a woman and being a mom. You were maybe it's getting to the point where you don't have to take care of everyone, Shannon. That stuck in my brain for days. And I still have a 20-year-old at home, but she's very independent. She could definitely be living on her own. She sometimes keeps me in line with organization. So you made me realize I have signed up to have 3 exchange students who are teenagers. And it was an amazing experience. And also, I kind of hit this point where I was why do I keep signing up for this? To really look after other people.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to lie, I felt some guilt of ooh, Shannon, you're not going to take care of people? Like, what good are you then?
Yeah. But that's what we're told, right? Like,
Yeah.
that's what women are told, is that the only value we have is in our ability to caretake for other people. I remember when I turned 40, and I will never, because I opened this, I'm 46, so I turned 40 and I opened the studio that year. And I also co-founded a nonprofit that year. And I was like, all of a sudden people were talking to me about the things that I was creating and not the stuff I was caring for. And I remember going, is this what it's like for men the whole time? Have you guys just been out there being judged by the content of your character this entire time?
Oh, yes. How true.
Because that's not what it's like for us.
No, no, it is not. I want to bring something else in that you and I have been chatting about, and that is this idea of like really taking care of ourselves. Like,
Yeah.
oh, maybe like we go on a little date for ourselves. Like, what would it feel like to take care of ourselves? And I mean, there's lots of language around this. For me, now that I'm single, it's like you and I have talked about decentering men. And what if that's not the center of our story? Like, what if we are?
Yeah. Just occurred to us now. Several decades into our
Right,
lives.
right.
Thought just occurred to
Approaching
me.
50. Yeah. What about
I
that?
might actually matter too.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, I want to hear from our listeners, and if they want to reply back, they're going to have to like tag us on social media or post in the comments somewhere, ask questions. I'm happy to answer questions. How's it feeling for you, Rebecca? Like, how's it feeling right in this moment of, studios closing and you have big things in front of you? Like, you're starting
Yeah.
something new and you're continuing something, the podcast as well.
Yeah. I mean, that feels very fun because I think the thing about business ownership that I really have always enjoyed, that I kind of learned, actually, I would say COVID sort of thrust this upon me because I opened my studio 6 months before COVID hit. So I was still very new, and it forced me to be wildly creative very quickly. So everything we thought we knew about how to run a studio or operate a business was thrown out the window 6 months after I started. And I was like, oh, hey, I actually am built for learning new things and being creative. And I also, some of me kind of thrives in chaos. So, like, that got me started going, like, oh my God, my favorite part about this is building new things. Like, I love to be really creative. And so I'm very much looking forward to figure, like, I've never done a digital magazine before. I've never like been a publisher of anything before, but I'm going to do it because I really love us. Like, I love our industry and I love the people in it. And so I feel like this is a thing I want to build for us. And I'm excited about that. Like, I love the creativity part of like starting a new business. So I'm really excited about that. How are you feeling?
It's so interesting to hear you talk about this because I feel like I'm feeling really settled. And I didn't think this would be possible for me because I have such a, like, I've been an entrepreneur for 20 years in many different things. I feel so comfortable in this job that, like, and I also am spending way more time out in nature and away from my computer.
Yeah.
And it just feels really good. Like, I still definitely stay connected. I definitely check the news. I'm always keeping in touch with like what's happening in the yoga world and with friends. And a lot of that is online. But really, I mean, I was walking the dog last night and listening to some music and listening to nature at different times and taking pictures and felt incredibly light. Like, I felt like skipping. I felt like my energy was back. And I talked to my therapist about this today. And she was like, that's because you're releasing some of those old, stuck things that were really holding you back. And we've worked on setting boundaries and it literally makes me feel lighter. So, and I never thought that would come from like having a, I want to say 9 to 5, but it's not a 9 to 5. It's like a 9 to 4 30 job. I never really imagined that would happen. So I guess I'm feeling kind of surprised, really happy, really light, excited to see where this goes. Also, I have some other I'm in conversation with Jeevana Heyman. I'm in conversation with OfferingTree. I always chat with you. But there are some people who really care about the yoga world and care about the things I care about, social justice, humans, the planet, that those people still want to collaborate. And I was like, really? Like, aren't I kind of out of the club? And you said,
no. Jeevan and I will never let you leave. Shout out to Jeevana Heyman. We love you.
I want to tell you, I told you this already, but I want to share with listeners, you and Jeevana Heyman were huge cheerleaders for me. You were both just like, yay, we're so excited for you. Whereas some people, I think, were seeing the potential that the podcast had. Don't let it go. Hold on to it. And instead of
forever. Potential forever. You've done it. You've done your potential.
Yeah.
You can do whatever you want now.
Right, exactly. And so it was interesting. I did get some mixed reactions, but not from you two. And I remember saying to you, it just feels like you just want what's best for me, and you don't really have like an opinion that would hold me back, sort of thing.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Yeah.
Jeevana said the same thing to me when I told him I was selling my studio. Because I also texted him and I was like, is this insane? Is this, I want to, I want to build this thing for yoga professionals. And Jeevana has done so many things for us as an industry. I was just like, Jeevana, am I nuts? And he is so supportive. He was just wonderful in his response to me. Just he's like, yeah, go for it.
Yeah. Okay, I have to say that's my other favorite thing about going through a breakup is the people who are when I'm oh, I went through a separation, then they're they come with something positive instead of a look of pity and are you okay? They're just good for you.
Yes. Congratulations when they happen, when somebody's smart enough to be like, oh my God, congrats. You're good, right?
I'm not saying it's not hard.
Of course.
Yeah. For things ending and breakups and changes. Yeah. Those things are not always, bad.
No. I think I have always kind of had this idea in my head, we have this thought that ending something is really difficult. And I actually don't. I think the ending part is easier because things can kind of tie up in a bow. When it's done, it's done. And I'm finished with the thing. I'm finished with my studio. I'm finished with, whatever partnership or whatever. I'm finished with the thing. Finished with my house. I'm selling my house this week. But the beginning part's the part that trips us out. Now what? Now I've finished this other thing. Now what do I do with the space and time and energy that I was putting into the stuff that I decided I was going to end? And I think some people get caught up in the idea that they have to justify ending something, forever and ever. I'm going to have to justify why I left my studio. And that was full of amazing people and wonderful teachers and a great community and, 30% profitable and things that I was very lucky that, were true. But I don't have to do the same thing forever. Neither do you. Neither do any of us.
I really love how you brought up the space because I was just thinking about this today and talking with my therapist about I was excited to go in there and tell her these are all the things that are going well in my life because oftentimes I'd be like, I need help with this thing. And she really encouraged me to notice that space of this is going well. And you and I have talked about this to let's not find the next bit of chaos. Let's not find something else that needs to be taken care of.
Yeah. Oh, someone tried to get me a dog. And I was like, no, nothing else to take care of. No, thank you. I have plants. I have a staggering amount of plants. For anybody who doesn't know me, I have so many plants. I have 22 first cousins, and I have enough plants that I have named each one after my cousins. So many plants.
It looks like a jungle. You were not exaggerating when you sent me a picture. Yeah. Yeah, plants is a lot to take care of. It's interesting what we do take care of, like
Yeah.
pets, friends, yeah, work stuff, taking it home.
But if a plant goes, I'm going to be fine. I won't even be
Right.
sad about it. Like,
Right.
it'll be fine.
I don't know. I'm pretty attached to some of my plants now that you say that. No, I'm just joking. Yeah. So I think noticing that space is really good. Any closing thoughts or
I was just going to ask you the same question. Like, what are your closing thoughts that you want to share with people who are listening? Because this is like the first time you're telling them like
I
the
know.
podcast is done. What do you want to say?
Oh, you're going to make me cry almost. I feel like I'm incredibly grateful. Like most grateful for the moments when I could learn not just from our guests, but learn from our listeners, from feedback. Like, I feel like the podcast was a huge time of growth for me, for really understanding different points of view in the world. Like, sometimes you can only get that by traveling, but also you can really, I don't know, just hearing people's experience all across, like that weaved into the yoga world, but also, yeah. And I think also listening to people is a huge gift, like a huge way to connect with people. I've made some really good friends. You're one of them through the podcast. Like, and some listeners, like not just guests, some listeners as well that I love when, oh my gosh, I'm going to give a shout out to Johanna because she'll like leave me a detailed message like, Shannon, here were my thoughts after the episode, like on social media. And I just think, oh my gosh, I love that she takes the
Yeah.
time to do that. Yeah, I think I'm incredibly grateful for the experience. Yeah. And just people being really open to being like extremely vulnerable for a podcast, like sharing. Yeah. What about you?
I mean, I think similarly, I find a lot of gratitude. I found a lot of gratitude in the experience that I had in, we'll say in this case, in running a studio. I found so much gratitude in the amazing, like, I find it astounding. And this is true podcasting too, but I find it astounding that people will still bet on me, on something that I've built. They will give me time, their energy, their attention, their money in the studios. Like I think that I can't ever quite express how mind bending that is to me. Like I still be like, really? Me? Like it could be anybody. There's so many incredible humans out there. And people chose to spend their time in the community that I built and created. And like that's such an honor. Like I I'm astounded by it. Like it blows me away. Continues to blow me away through the podcast when I hear listeners saying, you know what, I love what you built here. And somebody's going to spend an hour listening to this conversation. This is just two friends broke up with everything the last year, got on a mic and said, hey, we're going to tell you about it. Like that's incredible to me. Like I love that. I love that. It's, I mean, what are you doing? Listening to anybody, but here you are with us sharing time. That's awesome. Like it is building something and having it be a thing that people appreciate is so humbling and gratifying. And it's also, I feel like for me, it's time for me to build something different. So I'm going to go do that.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I want to share one more thing. That was the other thing I started realizing is most of my conversations I would be really leaning into. I mean, many of my listeners and some of your listeners even might know that I'm really passionate about growing food and gardening and tending to the plants on the earth and learning about them. And that's when like when I didn't want to nerd out about how the scapula moves in each yoga pose, but instead
Yeah.
I wanted to think about like my yoga switched to like how do I connect with nature and how do I get other people to get excited about nature and be out in it? And how can I disrupt some pretty harmful systems if I teach people to grow food and learn that like lots of food you can grow for free?
Yeah.
And that's all I could think about. And I heard that passion with you when you were talking about like the yoga industry. And I was like,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's the
cool.
only place I've ever felt at home was with us. Like, I don't know why. Like, that's insane for me to say, but like, I just always felt like home. So yeah, I like want to show up for us in a way that I feel like many people haven't showed up for us yet. Like I guess like I didn't get a dog, so I could take care of you guys.
Well, I'm excited you're doing this as well because as we know, like the economy is going for a real crap and
Yep.
yoga teachers are already, pinching pennies and especially US yoga teachers.
Yeah.
Like you don't have I just got a card to say that I can get free dental here in Canada. I hate to even say this to your listeners, let alone free healthcare, like our maternity benefits. So yeah.
I hope we love that for you. I love that for you. Like I'm not resentful that other people have access to basic human things that we don't have access for here. I hope someday we do too, but like I'm so glad there are people in the world that have that.
Yeah, and yoga teachers really like deserve
We need it.
more. Yeah, deserve more. Like
Yeah.
they're the people kind of holding communities together mentally, physically. Yeah.
Our work is impactful. I mean, we just spent an hour talking about, your podcast was impactful for people who are bringing impact into the world. I got the joy of hearing from so many people who were members of my studio how impactful the studio was. Like our work isn't nothing. Our work isn't like some frivolous thing that, is like a hobby for rich ladies who have tiny little dogs that they carry around in a bag. Like
You're
maybe
not
there are
running
those.
goop.
Yeah, like maybe there are people out there, Gwyneth, who like doesn't need it, but so many of us are on the streets and with the people, like really sharing something that's been impactful for our lives with other people. And yeah, like we should be showing up for each other the way that we show up for our students. Like I so desperately want that for us.
Yeah.
Instead of picking apart the poor lady who runs a wine yoga class or a goat yoga class. Whatever we're going to say.
Don't attack her. Don't attack her. Go for the systems that are like, yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh. Well, I'm excited to see where this goes.
Thanks. Me too.
All right. I think that's it. I mean, I'm coming back on my podcast for one more episode. I have no idea what I'm going to say, but if listeners have questions, it's not coming out for like a few weeks. So
okay.
Send me your questions.
Congratulations, Shannon. I'm so proud of you. I am so proud of you. Like magnitudes and magnitudes of pride for you and your journey and what you built and what you're going to build and what you're going to do. Like, I'm so fucking proud of you, my friend.
Oh my gosh. I'm just trying to sit here and soak that up because I feel the same way for you. And I am so grateful for your support and for like being like, look I'm okay. I'm doing okay over here. Like I got through that breakup. I'm getting through this thing. Super proud of you. Not easy to be a yoga teacher with many hats, like running a studio, having a podcast, and a mom.
Yeah.
And you're rocking it.
Thank you. I'm trying.
All right, connected yoga teachers. Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Connected yoga teachers, thank you so much for having a listen here. If you have more questions for me, I might be able to answer them in the last episode that goes out. But I'd also just like to stay in contact with all of you. I think it's possible. You can leave a voice message always on our website, theconnectedyogateacher.com. There's a way to do that through SpeakPipe. Or you can find me on Instagram, theconnectedyogateacher.com, or you can email me, Shannon at theconnectedyogateacher.com. I will say I am checking email less these days, which is feeling really great. So if you do send me an email and then I'm not replying, like hop on over to either Facebook or Instagram and just be like, hey, I sent you an email. It's there, because we also get flooded with emails. So just remind me if you've sent one. The show notes for today's episode are over at theconnectedyogateacher.com/398. And if you want to share a comment there that everyone can read, maybe you have a question, maybe you want to just, share your thoughts after listening to today's episode, I would love to hear from you. So what's next? I did want to take a moment here to just say, as we close this chapter, I've been really reflecting on what might be possible going forward. I would love for the resources that have been built here together, the Facebook group that we have, the podcast, and the Connected Yoga Teacher website, to continue to support yoga teachers in some way. I've even wondered what it might look like to pass the torch, whether through collaboration or someone else really stepping in to carry this work forward. I think that's possible. And while with my current schedule, I'm not able to keep up with all the behind the scenes tasks that go into creating a podcast, I would be open to hosting if someone was like, hey, we still want you to host. We'll take on all of these other pieces. Or maybe someone's like, no, I really want to try hosting this, and I want to see if I feel like I'm the right fit to continue on. Let me know. If you're listening to this and you're like, ooh, I have an idea, reach out for sure. You can email me, Shannon at theconnectedyogateacher.com. But again, message me on Instagram or Facebook just to say, hey, I sent you a quick email. Did you see it? Thank you so much to our incredible team who's brought this podcast to life each and every week over the years. Special shout out to Sinead Crunch and Suzanne. Your care for yoga teachers and just like the world in general, your creativity and behind the scenes magic have been a huge part of this journey. Like the podcast would not even happen without all of you. Yep, this is where I feel like I might cry. Okay. I can do it. And I'm also fine with crying publicly, so it's fine. A heartfelt thank you as well to all of the amazing guests that we've hosted on the podcast. I'm in awe of the wisdom, the stories, the generosity of connection that everyone has shared here. And I feel like these conversations are still here for you. So you can go back and have a listen to previous episodes. We have a lot of them now. This is 398. So, there's lots to go back and have a listen to. And I think that'll be there for years to come. Last, but certainly not least, thank you, dear listener. You've truly, this is where, all the feels are coming in. You've truly, I'm thinking of so many listeners as I say this. Let's just take a breath together. Because the tears are like coming because I feel immense gratitude. Dear listeners, you've truly been the heart of this podcast, and I'm so grateful. And Suzanne, by the way, leave all of this in of the pausing and the emotion, even though it was suggested that we cut it out. I've been grateful for the time that we've hung out together because I know how precious time is. And it means so much, listeners, that you've tuned in. You've shared your time. You've shared your thoughts with me over the years and really walked this journey with me. Whew. As we wrap up this chapter, I want to leave you with one question. How will you continue to stay connected to yourself, to your yoga practice, and to your community? Whatever that looks like for you, I hope it supports you in sharing the yoga that lights you up. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. Take care and stay connected.